Welcome back, everyone. This is Oxygen for the Soul. This week's Perashat Vayesse. I had just come back from my Morocco excursion. We brought about 48 young people to Morocco to explore a little bit about our Jewish heritage, our history, our culture. It was fascinating touring through an Arab-speaking country and not being afraid. There are very few places on earth that you can actually do that. It's an amazing opportunity to learn about what it was like living amongst Arabs. I don't know. Again, there are very few places on planet Earth that you could do it. The people were very warm, very welcoming. We had an amazing time, and like I said earlier, God willing, we will run more programs like that in the future for married couples, not just the single people. It's not fair; they get too much attention. But yeah, we're going to share and spread the love to others as well. Okay. Perashat begins with, this is in the middle of a story actually, because Perashat begins with Yaakov leaving his house. We know that Yaakov receives the blessings from his father, Yitzchak, and his brother Esav is unhappy about the fact that those blessings were given to him and vows to take vengeance to destroy his nemesis, his twin brother, and wipe him off the planet. Yaakov will be disturbed. Yaakov is focused on listening to his mother, who says, "Leave, go out of this place, go to the place of your father, find yourself a good shidduch, find yourself someone to marry. It's time for you to make a little bit of a transition and become something bigger and better." Vayesse Yaakov Beersheva v'yelech Harana. He goes to a place called Haran. Now, Haran should not be confused with Haran, Abraham's brother. Haran is the name of a city that is in the southern part of Turkey, like north of Syria. That's where Abraham is taken by Terach and Nahor, his brother. They head out there, and then from there, Yaakov makes his way down to Eretz Canaan. So you imagine you have over here like Mesopotamia. They climb all the way up into to Turkey. That's Haran, and they come down straight from there into Israel along the coast. So he goes there, and he has this fascinating dream. Okay, he has a dream over there of these angels that are coming up and down, and I don't want to spend time going through the dream. I'm sure there's lots of different passages that we'll go through it, but I want to double click on this word over here. It says vayivga b'makom, and he encountered in the place. Vayelen sham, and he spent the night there. Ki ba hashemesh, because there the sun had set. V'ikach ma'avnei hamakom, and he took there from the stones of the place. V'yasem marashi tov, and he put them underneath the head. V'yashkev v'yibakom hahu, and he laid down in that place. Okay, so now Torah tells us that he bumps into this place. This is a very unusual usage of words. Makom, place, teaches us that on his way, Yaakov realized that he had neglected to stop at the special place in Jerusalem called the Temple Mount, where his father and grandfather were prayed to and almost sacrificed Abraham, his son. And he bumps into this place, this future place of the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, and he completely ignores it. Now, to appreciate... Hello? Okay,
We're here.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody. No offense. If you want to unmute yourselves, you can. I just don't want to have background noise. Okay, so now to appreciate the awesomeness of this, I want you to try to imagine how would you react upon coming back from Israel, and you're exhausted, you're drained, you just spent 7 days, you survived a terrorist attack, just as Yaakov narrowly did when Esav's son Eliphaz tried to murder him. You went to Israel, you escaped all these things, and you completely forgot to pray at the Western Wall. Right? You're already back in New York, you're at JFK, you've unpacked, you're like, holy cow, I can't believe I spent a week there and I didn't. Would you make an immediate about face and go back? Especially in the view of the fact that Hamas and all of his cronies or were waiting around for you, just as Esav and the clan were waiting around for Yaakov. right? He bumps into the place. He goes back to this place. This is interesting. Yaakov's midah, his attribute is called the midah ta'emet. He is someone his midah is called truth, also known as tiferet, or balance. And above all, he is committed to the pursuit of truth. Even if it means to take a crazy, ridiculously hazardous, dangerous journey, and even if it means admitting he made a mistake, he is going to do what he has to do. Now we can appreciate that, that Jacob had a tremendous amount of strength of character, which is very much of a different personality than his brother Esav, a tremendous amount of contrast. In last week's Perashat, we know that Esav sold his birthright for a pot of beans. But his arrogance wouldn't allow him to admit that he acted so foolishly, and so he was in such a rush that instead of doing teshuvah, he became more upset and more embedded in the lies about his birthright. He ended up hating it. He expressed contempt for it. The ability to recognize one's mistakes and shortcomings is what elevates a person. It's not about the mistakes that we make that condemn us, but it's how we react to them that counts. We're going to make all kinds of decisions. We're going to make all kinds of choices, some good, some bad, some better. But when God sees that we are determined to embark upon his path, right? Then he meets us more than halfway. He comes to our aid. He performs all kinds of miracles on our behalf. And as soon as Yaakov admits that he makes a mistake and he expressed his desire to return, God shortens the journey for him on the Temple Mount, and he gets there and he encounters it. He just it's out of nowhere. He's at the place, right? It's this ability to admit the truth where one's able to recognize one's mistakes, to do the tshuva, that distinguishes the great among our people. We are not in control of the results. We are not here to measure how fast we get to accomplish the things that you and I want to accomplish in this world. Yaakov is constantly reminding us that the purpose of life, the purpose of reality, is for us to start the process, but be constantly cognizant of the fact that we're not in control of the process. Number one, never give up. In Morocco, I'm not sure how well you know the history, but in 1944, Hitler asked the king of Morocco, I believe at that point Morocco was a French colony, and he asked the king of Morocco to hand over all the Jews. He wanted all the Jews, like they did in Tunisia. 19,000 Jews were killed in Tunisia by the Nazis, Yamach Shamam. But the king of Morocco said, I'm not going to give you my Jews. We don't distinguish between Arabs and Jews in Morocco. They're all Moroccans. So he did not give them over, and as a result, the 300,000 Moroccan Jews that survived, today make up 1 million Moroccan Jews that live in Israel. That's crazy, right? Here's a guy, a king, who had a very clear set of values. He was willing to fight at the time the strongest man in the world. Imagine Putin is actually winning this war, and he's killing it. He's taking over most of Europe, and he gives you a phone call and says, "Hey guys, I want you to hand over these people." To say no is not so simple. You're putting your whole country in danger. But he does that, right? He does that. He's not in control of the results, the king of Morocco. He's only in control of his response. What's he going to do? What's he going to say? Is he going to do the right thing? How many people throughout history have doubled down on doing the wrong thing? Vayesse Yaakov mi Beersheva, all he wants to do is what's right. He's misunderstood. He makes certainly some mistakes along the way, no question about it. But he ends up encountering this place, right? Because he recognizes he almost walked by. Midrash tells us he almost walked by. He comes back, boom, miracles. We are not in control of the results. We're only in control of our responses. That's it. Yaakov is the ultimate educator of this. Okay, one last idea. So he has his dream. He has the angels coming from on the up and down. He gets upset because when you look at this ladder, it seems like it's an infinite approach into the heaven. And for him, he understood that this ladder was symbolic of the exiles that the Jewish people would go through, and he felt like it was no end to it. And that's the exile that you and I are in right now. So he sees, he gets up, okay, and he ends up, Vayashkim Yaakov Boker, he gets up in the morning, Vikachet Even Asher Sham, Sam Asher Sam Menashatov. He takes the stone that was underneath his head. This is the 12 stones becoming into one, because before it says he took the stones, now it's a singular. Secondly, he makes a matzeva and a monument, and he anoints it, and he says, Vikrat Hashem Makom Ahu Bet El. That stone is the place today of the Harabait, of the Dome of the Rock. Okay, so now he makes this interesting neder, a vow to God, saying, if you protect me, you'll be my God with me, and so on and so forth. But this is the part that I want to get to. Okay, the love story of this part of the story. Okay, Vayissa Yaakov Raglav v'yelech atzab b'nei kedem. He lifts up his eyes towards the people of the east, and he goes to V'yarminei be'er b'sadeh, and he sees that there is a well in the field. V'hinei sham shlosha adre tzon, and he sees that there are 3 flocks of sheep. Rovtzim aleha, they're lying beside it. Ki min ha'be'er hahi yashku ha'ederim. Right, these flock would drink from this well. Ve'even gdola al pi ha'be'er, and there was a very large stone that was placed on top of the mountain. Okay, on top of the well. And we know what the story is. There were these shepherds that put this massive stone on this well, and they were preventing people from, drinking from this well. And the only way to remove this stone is for you to have several shepherds together roll the stone off. Okay? V'nefsu shama kol hadarim. And when they assembled, all the droves, right, all these different shepherds, v'galu et even ma'al pi ha'ba'er, they would roll off this stone from on top of this ba'er, this well, v'shku et tzon, and they would water the stone, v'shivu et even, then they would return the stone al pi ha'ba'er l'makom, they would return this stone back to where it was. And the question is why? Why are they doing this? Like we know the story. The question is why? Why are they clogging up this? Well, they couldn't put some. Okay, you want to protect it. I understand. Get a cover. Do a small stone. Why do you got to do such a big stone that only 3 or 4 people can have to do it together? Yaakov says to them, "Achi, my brother, me'atem, from where are you?" And they said, "Haran, we're from Haran." Vayomer lehem, hayadatem et Lavan. Do you know my this guy named Lavan ben Nachor? Yeah, they said yeah. Vayomer lehem hashalom lo. What's the story with him? Vayomer, they said shalom, he's doing good. And at the same moment, as he's asking, these guys, these shepherds that are literally hoarding the water, v'hinei Rachel bito ba'a im hatzon. Rachel is coming down, right into the well. She's coming down with her flock. Great. Vayomer. And he says, Hen od hayom agadol. Second, did I skip one? Yeah. And he says, Hen od hayom gadol lo et ha'asef ha'mikneh. Right? He said to them, the day is going to be long, and there's not going to be time to bring this livestock. Right? They said to him, there's not going to be time to go ahead and water. We're not going to hang around to unroll this stone so you could feed your flock. And this shepherd there said, no, we can't do it until the other guys come down and they roll it up with me. And then we could water. And as he's still speaking with them, she's coming with this flock to go ahead and water them. And when it was that Rachel came to see sorry, I'm just getting another phone call. It's my mom. Best timing ever. And she comes down to see that her flock is going to be watered. He does it himself. He rolls off this stone by himself, and the question is, how does he do it on his own? Why didn't the other guy do it for her? And so on and so forth. So 2 things here. Number 1, the reason why Rav Hirsch says the stone was placed on top of this well is because no one trusted anybody. I don't believe you might take too much water for your flock. So I want to see what you're doing. So what did they do? They devised this plan where they're going to put this massive stone on this well so that anyone, any one individual can't do it on his own. He has to wait for someone else so that he can be monitored, which means there was absolutely no trust amongst these people. No one trusts anybody. These people completely thought that everyone was here to sketch them and take advantage of them. So what do? We're going to put this massive stone that you could only do with a few people. This way we know we always have a witness that someone is making sure that no one takes too much water or abuses the system that we've created. So when Yaakov says to the guy, come on, roll it off, why do you got to wait for this guy to come? He's just part of the system. He's already bought into this old narrative that no, we do things on our own. We got to watch, we got to be careful. But Yaakov says, no, why are you limiting yourself? Why aren't you even trying to move the rock? And this is what I really believe. I truly believe this idea that I'm going to share with you right now. The class is called "Get Out of Jail," right? It's that card that you have in what's it called in Monopoly, right? The go get out of jail free card, and jail is a place where you're stuck. There's no way out. It's impossible to leave, right? Someone has incarcerated you. You're locked up, bonded. But the truth is that there is something profound over here, I believe, that Yaakov is teaching us. And that is that when you set your mind to do something, no matter how difficult the task is, you will have the strength to overcome it. Do you understand that? Meaning, the reason why this guy, the other shepherd, didn't even bother trying is because he's already bought into the idea that he's stuck. It's like that famous story about the elephant where, any of you have been to India? Marie, no, not yet? Okay, I've been to India. And, I was in India and I see this massive elephant, ginormous, huge husks. And I said to the guy, he's parked his elephant outside. He's got a little rope around it and a little peg in the ground. And I said to this guy, aren't you afraid that this elephant's going to break free? And he says, no, sir. I said, well, why not? He said, because when this elephant was just born, we wrapped this rope around its neck, and since it couldn't break free when it was a child, it won't even attempt to break free now. The elephant has the strength of uprooting trees. It can easily snap the rope, easily break the peg, but he won't even try because he's already bought into this fictitious idea that there's no way he couldn't do it before, and therefore he can't do it now. Yaakov is ish emet. Someone who is living a life of truth is someone who never gives up until they discover the truth. The Perashat is a complicated one, no question about it. Yaakov dealing with Lavan, Yaakov marrying two sisters, he gets bamboozled, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he makes some bad choices, no question about it, right? But he has the power of reflecting, finding the truth, and doubling down and trying to live a life of truth. That's all we have. None of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to find challenges that we have to deal with. No question about it. But Vayesse Yaakov, he breaks free from the world that he came from because of his pursuit for truth. He can do supernatural things. He sees angels. He bumps into future places that are going to have massive impact on history. He's able to do supernatural things, lift boulders, because of his truth desire, his desire to live a life of truth. This is what you and I should be trying to pursue. It was refreshing being in a country like Morocco, where I felt that the narrative there was actually somewhat truthful. I can't tell you how many times locals said, well, the Jews taught us this. We didn't know how to do this stuff, ceramics, silversmithing, and so on and so forth. These were things that the Jews brought to our country and they taught us, and we're proud of that, right? It's this idea that is super important, hold on a second. It's kind of like Elon Musk's first principle thinking, something like that, right? Solve the problem, but you've got to be grounded in reality, grounded in truth. You can't live in a fictitious reality. This is something, unfortunately, I believe that the West today has lost, not completely, but is on the verge of losing. We need to do everything we can to live in a life of truth, pursue truth, find truth. That's the only way we could free ourselves from the shackles of this physical prison that you and I are living in. You want to break free? recognize your mistakes, do the tshuva, do what is emet, do what is true, and you will be blessed like Yaakov. He ultimately built a family. He ultimately went ahead and raised the kids. They weren't perfect, but they got it. They got it right at some point. You and I are descendants of people that made lots of mistakes, but didn't give up on trying to make things better. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of clarity, a Shabbat of peace, a Shabbat of Refuah Shlema, a Shabbat of Emet, where you're able to actualize your full potential, never giving up on what it means to be the best you. In that stubborn pursuit of truth, you will find all the blessings you need to find simcha and success. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening.